help, read this TV report on the Bhuj earthquake. Students, if you have not heard about the Bhuj earthquake, it was one of a kind, it was very disastrous. Let us read about it. Ahmedabad, January 26, 2001. At least 1,000 people are feared dead in the earthquake that struck Gujarat this morning. Many thousands have been injured. Army jawans have been called in to help. At least 150 buildings have fallen in the city of Ahmedabad. In these, there are a dozen multi-storied buildings. By this evening, around 250 bodies have been removed from these buildings. It is feared that several thousand people may still be trapped. Rescue efforts are on. There is perhaps no building in the city which has not developed cracks. The situation in Bhuj is even worse. People are running around in shock and panic. Within an hour of the earthquake, the fire engineers had reached and started work along with the local people. Offers to help are coming from the corners of the country and abroad. Students, it was one of the very famous and disastrous earthquake that we have seen in our country. It struck in January in Bhuj in the area of Ahmedabad, Gujarat. तो बच्चों बहुत ही सारे लोग डर गए थे इसमें, क्योंकि बहुत ज़्यादा बड़ी बड़ी मल्टी स्टोरीड बिल्डिंग्स भी, जैसा हम इमेज में देख सकते हैं, इतनी ज़्यादा गिर गई थी और उन्हें इतना ज़्यादा डर था कि अभी भी thousands of people would be trapped here. Rescue efforts were still on, students. There were a lot of teams coming up from the country, a lot of army jawans, help and all of that coming, but there were a lot of cracks developed in the ground around everybody. So there was a lot of rampage, a situation of panic, बहुत ज़्यादा डर का माहौल बच्चों whenever there's a natural calamity of such magnitude. There were a lot of fire engines and a lot of people who came up to help other people, but by that time a lot of damage had already been done. According to the TV report, thousands of people were injured and some died in Gujarat. If the buildings had been made in a way that they would not fall in an earthquake, would damage would have been different? How? Students, I'm sure अगर कोई बिल्डिंग, कोई भी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इस तरीके से बना होता जैसे कि हमने बाद में देखा विलेज में डेवलप होता हुआ, तो I'm sure the damage would have been lesser. Definitely it would have been lesser, but this had already happened. And इस टाइम पे earthquake का रिक्टर स्केल पे हम earthquake को मेजर करते हैं, वो बहुत ज़्यादा था, तो इसको कहते हैं बहुत ज़्यादा मैग्नीट्यूड होना ऑन द रिक्टर स्केल. तो इसके बेसिस पे बच्चों it was very difficult to prevent the damage, but in case if our इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, हमारी बिल्डिंग्स का स्ट्रक्चर और ज़्यादा अच्छा होता तो हम डेफिनेटली डैमेज को बचा सकते थे. At times like this, when people have lost their homes and all their belongings, what kind of help would they need? तो बच्चों, अगर किसी भी एरिया में किसी भी फैमिली के साथ ऐसा कुछ होता है तो definitely they need the necessities to live, such as a place to live, clothes, food, water, emotional help and comfort. Because students, they have lost something, not just something, their homes, maybe their family members, their neighbors or people they know. So emotional help is also important as by providing assets to them. सिर्फ अगर हम उन्हें घर दे देंगे लेकिन उन्हें कोई बात करने के लिए, उन्हें comfort करने के लिए we won't be providing, that won't be enough, students. In such situations, whose help would be needed and for what? Write in your notebook as shown here. So I've written a few answers, students. जैसे dog can be a very useful animal which is also used by police to smell out where people are lying trapped. Doctors can be used here to treat. Now, government and non-government organizations can be arranged to help people, to rescue them, to provide them with shelter, child services, local people, fire engines. Make sure, students, you write your own list, and I want your own reasons as to what do you think after listening to the report, who is going to help how. Have you ever seen people in your area helping each other? When? I'm sure, students, since we all live in a very social society, in a neighborhood, we must have seen कभी घर पे कुछ नहीं होता है तो we seek help from our neighbors. कभी हमें कोई issue हो जाता है, कभी we all come together to help each other on festivals also, to lift something, to help someone in times of happiness and sorrow. We come across our neighborhood, we come together with each other to help each other. But make sure you write your own answers here, students, कि आपको क्या लगता है, आप कब किसके साथ किसकी हेल्प करते हैं और कोई आपकी हेल्प कब करता है. Why do people live together in a neighborhood? So for the same question, I have written my own answers as to it provides us with the feeling of belongingness. It also provides us with care and security. But make sure students, आप अपने खुद emotional feelings लिख रहे हैं. What do you think? Maybe it could be physical support also. Maybe it could be moral support. Maybe it could be support for food, for shelter, anything. आप जिस भी तरीके से अपने neighborhood में help seek करते हैं या help करते हैं, make sure you write your own answers. Imagine living in a place where there were no other houses or people around. How would it be? For example, whom would you play with? With whom would you celebrate festival and special days? Would you be scared? So as I mentioned, there wouldn't be belongingness, there wouldn't be security. तो अगर आप किसी बहुत ज़्यादा isolated अकेले एरिया के घर में रहते हैं तो वहाँ हमें बहुत डर भी लगता है. हमारे पास कोई खेलने के लिए भी नहीं होता, कोई अपनी बातें शेयर करने के लिए नहीं होता. We don't have enough people around for festivals, for special days, for birthdays. So make sure students you write your own answers कि आपको क्या लगता है अगर आप किसी अकेले घर में रहते हो तो without anybody surrounding you, how would you feel? I would feel pretty scared, students. People face a lot of difficulty when they lose people from their family or their houses and belongings. In newspapers of the last 1 month, look for news related to such disasters, earthquakes, flood, fire, cyclones, etc. in different parts of the world. Collect these news reports and paste them in your notebook. As I told you students before we knew the story of Jasma's village कि कैसे 2020 में बहुत ज़्यादा earthquakes आए थे. अभी भी हम देखते हैं अपने आसपास. कुछ ही टाइम पहले हमने देखा है कि हमारे माउंटेन एरिया में बादल फटे हैं, लैंडस्लाइड्स आए हैं. तो ऐसे आप जब भी ये चैप्टर पढ़ रहे हो, मेक श्योर यू फाइंड आउट फ्यू थिंग्स अबाउट the natural calamities that have happened in our country, across the globe also you can find with the help of newspaper, with the help of internet, talking to your friends, your relatives and much more. Make sure you write some things about them as to what happened, how was the rescue planned. Make your own reports. Students, this is something that we all can do at our home, where we can choose one disaster where we can write its date, its time. You can also do this particular survey on Bhuj and then on some other calamity. What kind of damage did it cause on lives, on belongings, on livelihoods, which people came out to help, which government organizations, which officers. Make sure you choose any of the natural calamity that you've ever heard of. It can be Bhuj also that we just discussed. Make sure you do your research. आप उसके बारे में बहुत सारी चीज़ें ढूंढें और लिखें जिससे हमें आगे आने वाले कोई एक्सपीरियंस अगर होता है तो उसके लिए भी बहुत ज़्यादा सीख मिले. If there is no rains, crop can fail and there can be a drought. But food for people can be brought from other places, so there is no famine, which means people don't have to stay hungry and they don't die of hunger. तो बच्चों, जब बिल्कुल बारिश नहीं आती है, सूखा पड़ जाता है, तो उसको हम कहते हैं ड्रॉट यानी सूखा पड़ जाना. बट इसका हम एक रेस्क्यू ऑप्शन क्या यूज़ कर सकते हैं? टू ब्रिंग फूड फ्रॉम अदर प्लेसेस सो दैट फेमाइन ना हो. फेमाइन यानी भुखमरी, खाने की कमी की वजह से लोगों की मौत होना शुरू होना, ऐसी चीज़ें ना हो. पीपल डोंट डाई ऑफ हंगर, फेमाइन ना हो. इसलिए हम बहुत सारे रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशंस अप्लाई कर सकते हैं. Have people in your area ever got affected by famine or drought? Find such reports of different countries from newspapers. Make your own report. You may need some help from these in case of an accident emergency. Find out and write their addresses and phone numbers. Add more names to the list. Students, आई एम श्योर आप लोग सब समझ गए हैं कि फेमाइन और ड्रॉट क्या होता है और उनका क्या रिलेशनशिप है. तो अगर आपने कभी अपने आसपास देखा है सम फेमाइन, आई रिमेंबर इफ आई टेल यू माई ओन एक्सपीरियंस, आई हैव नेवर एक्सपीरियंस्ड फेमाइन बट व्हेन आई रेड अबाउट इट वाज अराउंड वर्ल्ड वॉर. तो जब वर्ल्ड वॉर चल रही थी, जब पूरा वर्ल्ड वाज एट वॉर, तो बहुत ज़्यादा जगहों में फेमाइन हो गया था, खाने की कमी हो गया था क्योंकि खाना कहीं डिलीवर नहीं होता था, क्रॉप्स उगा नहीं पा रहे थे लोग बिकॉज ऑफ अ लॉट ऑफ फाइट. तो that was the time of great hunger as it is called. Make sure students you do your own research. आप इंटरनेट यूज़ कर सकते हैं. You can talk to people, you can use newspapers, reports, articles to make sure that you know at least one famine around you or across the world. These are our emergency numbers. Make sure students आप अपने घर के एरिया का यहाँ पे address fill up करें. Whereas for phone number I have written for fire station it is 101, for ambulance it is 102, and for police station it is 100. These are our emergency numbers बच्चों. जब भी कोई कैलामिटी होती है, चाहे वो नेचुरल हो, आर्टिफिशियल हो, कोई भी दुर्घटना होती है, तो मेक श्योर आप सभी को ये नंबर्स याद हो और आप इनको यूज कर सकें. Difficult times. Write a report with the help of the following words. So students, now we are provided with a few words here which reminds us of a lot of difficult times all of us must have seen or faced. So make sure बच्चों आप ये सारे words use करें in order to write a report such as floods, river water, injured people, food packets, camps, dead bodies, dead animals floating in the river, houses, underwater aerial survey, sad people, diseases spread by dirty water, homeless people, trapped people. तो ये एक किसी भी natural calamity या किसी भी artificial calamity को describe कर सकते हैं बच्चों. For example, you can take the example of earthquake or a landslide कि कैसे उसके अंदर लोग trap हुए, how dead bodies were here and there, how there were things floating on the river or any water body, how there was aerial help, how the rescue operation happened. So all of this you can include in your report. What we have learned. What type of difficulties are faced by people during floods? Look at the picture. What kind of a school have children come to after the flood? Write down what people had to do to make their life normal again after the flood. तो बच्चों ये एक ऐसे एरिया का पिक्चर है जहाँ पर फ्लड स्ट्राइक कर चुकी है. उस फ्लड के बाद लोगों के पास इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर ही नहीं है, कोई जगह ही नहीं है जहाँ वो अपने स्कूल को कंटिन्यू कर सके. तो सब लोग एक आंगनवाड़ी टाइप की जगह में आए हैं पढ़ने के लिए. स्टूडेंट्स जब भी कोई नेचुरल कैलामिटी होती है तो एज वी हैव लर्नड इन जसमाज विलेज ऑल्सो एंड फ्रॉम आवर ओन एक्सपीरियंसेस कैसे बहुत ज़्यादा तबाही हो जाती है और उसके साथ साथ a lot of people die, a lot of people are injured, a lot of people are suffering, whereas a lot of other people are also helping. So what we learned from this very cautious chapter is that students, जब भी कोई natural calamity हो, कोई भी आपके साथ दुर्घटना हो, make sure you follow the lead, make sure you follow the drill, you know all your emergency numbers. आप किसी open area में जाएं, नहीं तो cover yourself with something that is strong in order to protect yourself from injury. Make yourself safe, help the animals around you, help people, wait for help, and make sure you are provided with comfort and you provide comfort as well. Thank you.